Hey friends, welcome. If this is your first time visiting, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. Thank you so much for stopping in. If you haven't already done so, please hit the subscribe button. I would love to have you as a subby friend. And if you like the video, give it a big thumbs up. So today we are going to do the same tumbler two different ways. So this tumbler, I was making the same one for someone, and I had to do two of them. And so we did them two different ways. So I used all the same material. So these both started out purple. I used everything the same, but I put everything on in two different ways. So this one, I did it the epoxy method, putting epoxy on and then the glitter. So the thing with this particular way of doing it is that you get a really full coverage. So your coverage of glitter is super full. Now this particular way takes a little bit longer because there's an extra step in there. So you do have to put some epoxy over top of it before you do your decals. But you get a really full coverage. And this way tends to take a little bit more epoxy. But again, you can see the coverage is super full all over, and you know, it's nice and smooth. I use the Hippie Crafter epoxy with this one, and everything is nice and smooth. It turned out really well. Now on this one, so I don't normally use this type of cup, and you know, it's the weight on it, it's heavy, but it's heavy in different places. So the weight on it, you know, makes it sort of like do some weird shifting. So in trying to find something that would work inside of this to keep it from doing the lean, one of the bigger footballs that I tried got stuck on the inside, so we'll do a video on cleaning these out and how to get that out. But yeah, so this turned out really cute. Now I did use this, I don't even know where it's from, but it's this super thin glitter paper for the moon, and I used it because it being so thin, and I felt like it would probably pull in, you know how when epoxy gets on certain things it leaves like some like watermark kind of looks, and I felt like it would probably give it like a older, like more ghostly look, and I feel like it did. But the thing I don't really like about it is that it left lines in it that really showed up under the epoxy that I wasn't expecting. Like, you know, usually you can cover up like for some little bubbles and stuff like that, but however, I still really like it. And then I put just some tiny little witches on the back. So, but this turned out super nice, and the color is really nice. And then this one, so this one also turned out really nice, and the color's very nice. It's just not as heavy on the glitter. So with this one, we put the epoxy inside. We put the glitter inside the epoxy for the coat on it, which, you know, still does a nice coverage, but like it's a thinner cover. So you'll have places where you can see your purple cup underneath. Now, you can always go on and sprinkle a little glitter on there if you want to. I didn't do that because I wanted you to see like the full, what that looks like. And I mean, when I do this, like I'm okay with that underneath. And sometimes I'll do this intentionally and I'll do a different color underneath that I want to just sort of show through under the glitter. So something very contrasting. So that's always kind of nice too. you know, but it's still a nice coverage. Everything is covered nice, turned out well. It really is just the fact of what is it that you want. I want you to be able to see. So all the colors are the exact same. So the cups painted the same, the exact same glitters, everything. And you know, the look is subtle, but you know, there are definitely some differences. So I just thought that since I was doing two the same, I would do them the two different ways so that you can see, because so much of this is just about preference. And for myself, because I do like so many different ways, it just really even gets down to mood sometimes to which, you know, style I decide to use. But these turned out really, really good. So I probably won't do the inside cleaning until after the hurricane. So, but I'll clean that inside and I'll put the video up in case you're interested. Okay. But anyways, these turned out really, really cute, just two different ways. And if you would like to see them being done, then stay tuned and we're gonna make them. All right, listen, you guys have a blessed and beautiful day. My Florida friends or anybody in the hurricane path, please stay safe and I'll see you guys later. Bye. All right, friends, so as you can see, I've got two cups and they are the same. The only difference in these cups is one is a Yeti and one is not, but they are the same cups. So I sprayed them both with purple spray paint to start, and I am going to do two cups exactly the same, but two different ways. I'm going to be using the Hippie Crafter epoxy. It is two parts. Part A and part B in even distribution. I'm going to mix it in my epoxy mixer. The biggest thing is that you want to get exact measurements and you want a really good mix, okay? And then we're going to be using Dark Side and Violet Ash from Glitter Chimp. So the Violet Ash is our ultrafine glitter that's going to be on the whole thing. And then the Dark Side is going to be sort of like up the bottom, okay? So I'm gonna mix up my epoxy and then I'll be back. I have a piece of parchment down to catch my glitter. I don't know what's up with this football, probably because it's old. But we're gonna, on this one, we're going to, I need it to turn this way. We're gonna put our glitter on with epoxy. So I'm going to put on a light coat of epoxy. Now I don't want too much on here because if I have too much, then, you know, it'll make my glitter kind of clumpy and it'll hold way too much glitter. So we want everything covered. We just don't want it to be too thick. And this is a really, these heavier cups, these that are like this, they tend to be, even though the shape you wouldn't think, but they actually tend to be heavy on the bottoms. So while I'm just getting my glitter on, I'm not going to worry too much if it's leaning, but when my glitter's on, and it's turning, I want it to be nice and even. All right, so now I'm just going to put on my glitter. Now I'm not going to go quite as heavy on the bottom because I'm going to add my other one too. I'm just kind of taking it up just a little bit up into here. All right, I'm so upset. I can't believe I thought I hit record and I didn't. So on this next one, all I did was I put the glitter inside the epoxy. So when you're doing this, you take your epoxy and you want half as much glitter as you have epoxy. I used about 20 cc's and then just put my epoxy on regular and it flows very smooth. Now I'm just using some heat to get rid of any bubbles. Now I do not normally use a lighter. I prefer a heat gun. I just don't know where mine is at the moment. So again, your glitter inside your epoxy, half as much glitter as you have epoxy, and then you just put it on like you would normally put on epoxy. If you needed to, you could always sprinkle a little glitter to cover anything that's not covered as well as you would like it to be. And this is a really good technique that allows for a faster application because you don't need to do another coat of epoxy before your decal. All right, so now that this one has been running for a little bit, I'm just going to take my finger, and I like to take the time to just pat it down. Now some people use wax paper or parchment paper and just wrap it in it and press. I just don't have good luck with that. You know, the people that do it, it's like, it looks so much faster, but I don't know what it is, but I don't have good luck with it. For me, I end up making a mess. All right, so this one is done. I want you to see I did also change out. I got rid of the football and I put this piece in instead because I want this to roll nice and even now. So here is this tumbler. It's done. You can see the glitter is all nice and flat. I don't have to do any sort of sanding on it. And that was because of just really patting it in super well. So, but now this one, even though it's all nice and flat, it's not really smooth enough to put my decal on. If I put my decal on like this, it's going to be grainy. It's going to be lumpy and bumpy. Even if it's only fine bumps, it's still going to be lumpy and bumpy. And you want a smooth surface for your decal. So now I'm going to cover this glitter with 20 cc's of epoxy. So I did my same epoxy, which is the Hippie Crafter Part A and Part B, and I mixed it in with my Hobby Lobby mixer. I had used my cup, my little beaker cup from yesterday, so I have, there's a little bit of like pieces of glitter in it. Kind of looks like dirt if you didn't know better, but it's just glitter. It's just the same glitter that's on it. Now again, I say it all the time, but I feel like I can't say it enough. The most important thing with your epoxy is making sure that you have the equal parts. If you do equal parts, if you do weight-based, then, you know, making sure that that's correct. I like equal parts. I think that that's the easiest to just make sure that you have everything that you need correct. And then the mixing, making sure that it's mixed fully is just so important. Now I want to, on this one, I want to put enough epoxy to be able to give it a nice smooth finish, but I don't want to overly do it because I don't want it to be heavy, because after my decal I will be putting on a nice final coat. And if I use too much, then it starts to get heavy. And I don't want that. Especially these bigger cups, because they're already heavy, you know? And you want to make sure that you're spinning evenly, because that's how you end up with rings, like around the bottom or around the top. And then of course, if you have any bubbles, you want to take heat to it. All right, so here is this tumbler, and it's ready to go, nice and smooth. So I can put my decal on without needing to sand anything. So this is nice and smooth, and then I'll give it a nice good layer afterwards. Use my Cricut to cut my decals, and so I've got, and this is a super thin glitter vinyl, super thin glitter. So now this cup, everything is nice and smooth. On this one, I don't expect to have to use as much, epoxy on this one as the other one, because, you know, again, I don't have any glitter to smooth down or over or anything. These cups, like, they're so heavy and whatever, I just don't have a good holder for them, because I generally use, you know, like these more straight cups. But once this gets the epoxy on it, it turns nice and it stays nice and even. It's just messing with it while I get the epoxy on it. So you definitely want to have a good mechanism for holding them in place. And honestly, because, like, so the person I'm doing these for gave me these cups to, you know, make on these cups for her. And they're just not what I usually use. So I just don't really have what I need for them. But I do feel like they'll hold, and roll in place well. But if you're regularly, doing specific cups, make sure you have what you need. Like I have what I need for the cups I normally do. I just don't normally do these. So we're getting ready to have a hurricane. So I want to get these like going and, done and hard before then. So this was about 20 cc's to finish this cup off. So again, doing it this way was faster because it took one layer of epoxy. It also used less epoxy. But the other thing, your glitter coverage isn't as good as like this one. The glitter coverage, even though it took an extra layer, so the other one, even though it took an extra layer, of glitter, and it took more epoxy, the glitter coverage is better on the other one. But this glitter coverage isn't bad, mind you. It's really about what you want. So I'm going to show you both.